Hi there. So in today's video, we will be learning how to sew this jumpsuit. Already, the patterns for the top and the down had already been drafted and they are in the previous video. I will be leaving the link in the description. So we are moving on to the assembling, how to assemble them and create the dress or the jumpsuit, sorry. So here I'm actually the front had been added to it. It has been overstaged because of that brown thing or that brown cape that you could see there. We actually line the front brown. Okay, we use coffee brown for the front, and I'm actually working on the dart. So with the dart section, you actually divide it into two, and then you take out the allowance, which is the 3 inches we added for the dropping of the top from it, and then we draft it up. But most so this dress or this jumpsuit is actually going to be flapping with the other one. Okay, so we have one there. It would be flapping with the other section to give that cross effect in the front. So here I was done sewing the neckline, giving it a bit of some notches, sorry, and then over stitching it. So after the overstitch was done, I repeated the same thing with the other section, which is the back will be a zip. It was going to be a zipper back. So I did that with the two. And then I repeated the process of darting. So here, based on the person's measurement, I darted it out here. Okay, so it was 7 inches from the distance, including the zip allowance, which was 2 inches. So here too, I also did sew the neck or overstitch the neck and the lining of the other back. Like I said, that is what you see me doing here. And then I added the 2 inches and also the darting spacing, which was 4 inches, making it 6 inches to get the darting right. And I always advise that when you are actually finish your first darting, you make sure that you place it on the second one so that you can transfer the same measurement on it. You can decide to also use your tape measure to draft it all over again, but this is what I do. I transfer it to it just like so. So here you see me adding the shoulders together. Okay, so you make sure that the fabric shoulders are meeting whilst the lining shoulders are also meeting as well. So after they have meted there, after they've met there, sorry, you join it up so that you can get the lining looking nice and the fabric looking on point as well. Okay, this one you will actually with this how these joining will be done, you won't see the messiness out of the dress. It would look fine and clean with that concept. Okay, if this is your first time watching my video, do not forget to subscribe and turn on your notification bell so that you will be alerted anytime I post any video. So here there will be no hand, so I am closing up with the armhole. So I'm joining the lining and the African print together, joining it together, giving it notches. Because of the curvy nature of armholes, it's always best that when you sew it, you give your notches and then you overstitch it to make it stay flat and beautiful. So that is what you see me doing here. The same process will be repeated with the front and the back, the other one back, and the front, the two fronts, which will be overlapping. Yeah, so that is what you see me here. I'm giving it a bit of some touch stitches so that it can stay in place and look very nice. So here in this section, I'm actually turning it up so that you can see how it looks by the end of the day. This is how it looks after it is being sewn, turned out, given notches and given overstitch. Okay, so here I'm repeating the whole process all over again so that you can understand what was done in the first section. So you join your lining and your fabric together like you can see me doing here to close up the armhole. Okay, so when you do that, you close it up with the armhole, but you would not repeat this process if you are to attach a hands to it. Maybe you want to create yours and you want to attach a hands to it. there is no need for you to sew it. You just have to leave it there like that so that you can attach the hands to it. But if not, you would have to seal it up, and this is the best option or the best way to make it look beautiful, flat and beautiful. Okay, so after you're done giving your notches, you try your best to overstitch it so that it can make it lie flat and beautiful, as it can be seen here. You would also repeat the same process with the other front, the flapping and the overlapping front. Okay, that is what you saw me doing there. You overstitch it to make it look beautiful and nice. And this is what happens when you fold it on it. Okay, so you repeat the same process. So after that, you actually join the shoulders together. Make sure that it is being done this way so that you put it inside it like so. You make sure that the lining is meeting the lining, and then the fabric is also meeting the fabric so that it wouldn't turn up. When you position it and you notice that the lining is meeting the fabric and the fabric is meeting the lining, that means that there has been some changes and there's going to be a disaster. So it would be best if you actually check it out. Make sure the lining is meeting the lining and the fabric is meeting the fabric, so that in order for you to achieve what has to be achieved, it doesn't tear. Okay. So here like that, you put it down, you sew it on it, and every stitch and every mess will be inside the project. Okay, you cannot see it. Do you see how it looks? Looking flat and beautiful. This is the result that I was talking about. Okay, so the lining has to meet the lining and the fabric has to meet the fabric. You repeat the same process with the other side. Make sure that the lining meets the lining and the fabric meets the fabric. If it changes, that means that there's going to be a disaster. Okay, so you try your best to make sure that the lining does meet the lining and then the fabric meets the fabric. Just have that at the back of your mind. And then you make sure that where the lining is meeting the fabric, it meets like that, it coordinates like that, and then you pin it together to make the sewing extremely easy for you. If it doesn't align, that means that by the time you're done with the sewing, there's going to be an issue with your shoulder. So try your best to make sure that they are meeting perfectly there, like so. So here you join the shoulders like so, as it can be seen here. You put it up like so, you realize that, okay, this is it. They are meeting perfectly. So here in this section, I'm placing the fronts together. I will be stabilizing them together by sewing it on it together so that I can attach the jumpsuit or the trousers to it. Okay, so here I'm placing it on the other one to know where I can do the darting. Like I said, after I'm done with the first darting, I do not use my tape measure to draft another dart again. I just use the first one that I actually use my tape measure to create, to do the other one as well, the opposite side as well. You can decide to use your tape measure to create it, but probability there's going to be kind of some changes with the measurements or the accuracy are quite higher than when you replicate it in that order. Okay, so when you place it on it and then it does that, it makes it, you really don't get it in a shape that there's quite some distance and stuff like that. It really doesn't happen like so. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So here I'm drafting, I'm actually sewing the dart out so that I can place it on the other flapping section, and then I'll stabilize it with my sewing machine. Yeah. You might be wondering like why I stood up. I actually stood up to go iron it up. Ironing is the key. Iron is key. It makes wax looks beautiful. So I actually stood up and went to iron it out. So here in this section, the trousers pattern has already been uploaded on the channel. Please do check it out so that you can understand it. So I'm joining the crotch of the trousers together before I would attach it to the front top. Okay, I'm joining the front crotch together. I'll be doing that same thing with the back as well, so that I will be able to join it up as well. So here, this is the packet, okay? And with this packet, you will need a bit of some. I'll make a separate video explaining how these packets were done or how these packets were achieved. If I decide to explain it in this video, it's gonna be extremely long, very, very, very long, and you might get confused since the cut was not shown in the other previous videos. I will make a very simple and short video demarcated for how to cut your trousers packets or your short packets, the easier method to achieve that. And then I'll place it on I'll upload it on the channel. If I do that, I'll make sure that it can be seen in the description as well. So the packet here is being sewn, but please do take a look at it so that when you see it somewhere or when I'm done uploading that special video for the understanding, you will be able to get the concept of how it is being done. Please, if this is your first time watching my video, I'm a fashion designer in Ghana, Kumasi. Do not forget to send me a WhatsApp message if you need any of my or our services. And yes, we do work on men's styles as well. So if you want to surprise your man or your father or your husband, kindly do let us know and we will be excited to be part of that. So here in this section, you can see me attaching the front to the front of the trousers. Okay, so this is the front of the jumpsuit, the upper section being attached to the front of the trousers. Okay, so the top front and the down front has been added together, and then we would use that same technique to attach the backs to it as well. But with because the dart at the top section has already been done with the measurements, we would replicate the same darting system with the back as well, which will be the 6 inches. You go one side each, and then the length will be 5 inches. As you can be seeing here, you do like so, and then, but because this is a jumpsuit, you actually have to make it 6 inches. If it were to be trousers, if it were supposed to be a trousers or just a trousers, or if it were supposed to be just a skirt, because of the attachment of the band and stuff like that, you could make it 5 inches because the band would elongate it. But since it's a jumpsuit being attached to a top, since it's a jumpsuit being attached to a top, you make sure that you make it 6 inches. And then you make sure that the top darts and the down darts, which is the trousers dart, align perfectly. Okay, make sure that it aligns perfectly. That is the reason why we use that dart to actually create the other darts for the down section so that it would align perfectly and there will be no shortage of fabric And also, there would be no instances whereby the trouser slip zip line is too big than the top zip line and stuff like that. Okay, yes. So you pin these together. So after you're done pinning them together, you start to sew it up. So with the trousers, you would have to sew the down section of it. Okay, right beneath the crotch where the thighs meet, you would have to actually do sew it together before you actually go and work on the hip section, the bust and the waist to get the actual measurements. But where the thigh are, you would have to sew in between the thigh so that it will be stabilized before you go and then use a person's measurements for it. So after this, you lie it flat on the table or wherever you find yourself. You make sure that you align it. So here I am going to be drafting. I am pinning up the zip allowance. So that is where I will be joining or I will be attaching the zip. So I make sure that I'm pinning up with the hip section and then coming to the knee area as well. I will pin it up together so that they will lie flat and beautiful and there would be no shortages with the fabric. So after they are being pinned together like so, I get my tape measure. So the person's shoulder to waist was 16 inches, shoulder to hip was 23, shoulder to bust was 12. So that is what you saw me doing there. I placed the tape measure there to get that measurement right. And then I moved on to the person's waist measurement, hip measurement, and then straighten it up till I got to the down section. And the reason why I didn't use any measurement for the knee area was because this is a palazzo like and it is not fitted at any area. If I wanted it fitting to the person, tight on the person, that would be when I would have taken into consideration the person's thigh measurement. But it was just the waist, the tie, and then the bust that was fitted, that was supposed to be fitted. So that is what you saw me doing here. And after the shape and everything was installed, this is how the project actually looked. And yes, thank you very much for watching till the so this was when Prof came in for her fitting, and this is how it looked on her. She wanted a belt to be attached to it, so the belt was sewn separately, and she just tied it on it. So if you see the smiles, you just know that this is it. And I hope you understand the whole concept.